Yeah. I mean, since we're on the NCAA topic, I mean, let's just chat about this right now. I mean, since Zach's a WHL guy, you were an
Yeah.
NCAA guy.
Yep.
The new potential, I want to say potential now, because now we're hearing different things about they don't know when it's going to happen, but the NCAA CHL eligibility changes. Um, you played 1 year in the AJHL and then went to the NCAA. Why did you choose the NCAA over major junior?
I purely did that. I was drafted in the last round by the Tacoma Rockets, which
Okay,
then moved to Kelowna.
Kelowna.
My intention, I had no idea what college hockey was.
Okay,
I couldn't have named a team. Like I didn't even know it existed. My plan was to play major junior if I was good enough. I never had any like professional hockey for me. Like that didn't even cross my mind until I guess I was drafted. And then I'm like, okay, well, somebody thinks I'm decent. But I literally was going to play major junior when I was in grade 12. So that would have been my 17-year-old. I have a November birthday. So 16 turning 17.
yeah.
I had made the team in Kelowna. And my dad is like, I got nothing against major junior. I love major junior. My dad is scouted for major junior teams, Brandon and Regina, for like, Jesus, it's got to be 30 years now. So we got nothing
Wow.
against the WHL. Um, the only thing was, and this kind of touches on what I think you're going to get into, is like my parents, my mom was a principal in Fort Saskatchewan. So she would get like the horror stories from back in the day of like guys going to junior and like not going to school, or if they're in the States and like the credits don't transfer. And so all she wanted me to do is she was adamant. I mean, my mother did run the household. I think she still does, where I was going to finish high school. So finish high school, then go do whatever the hell you want. So I left. I mean, I was on the team in Kelowna. I left. I didn't want to. I remember I was in tears. Like I wanted to stay. So I went back, played in the AJ in Fort Saskatchewan, and then I North Dakota came and they said, "Hey, do you want to like my first visit?" I went up. Long story short, my head coach Doug Shum was like, "Hey, BU's upstairs. They want to talk to you. Like after a practice, they want to talk to you. You should get up there right now, Mike." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." I'm like BU, what is that? Like I have no idea what this guy's talking about. So I go upstairs. There's this guy sitting at the table. He's like, "Hey, Mike, you ever thought about U.S. college hockey?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah." I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And then he hands me like the little brochure. So I grab it, BU, Boston University. I'm like, okay, now at least I know where the hell he's from. And then, anyways, I went on a fly down. North Dakota was the one and only team that offered me a fly down, and I literally just went on a fly down just because it was my first trip ever out of the house without my parents. That was the only reason why I went.
Oh
And I
wow.
went down to North Dakota, and I'd been to like a bunch of different junior games and like I don't think I'd ever been to Lethbridge to watch, but I've been to like Swift Current, and I've been all up and down Saskatchewan. I went and watched a Red Deer game, and so it's not like I hadn't seen games before. Like my dad and I went to games, and they were good. Like don't get me wrong, but like any other league, like some atmospheres and buildings are better than others depending on where it is and if the team's any good and whatnot. And I went into North Dakota and with had no idea what to expect, and I was blown away. Like the rink was packed. There were girls everywhere. Half the people were hammered. Like I was literally sitting there. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So at the end of my trip, I went home and I'm just like, well, I mean, if these guys want me, like at least I can go. If I go to North Dakota, I'm getting a scholarship. It wasn't even a full scholarship. I'm getting a scholarship, and at least I can go to school. I can play hockey for 4 more years, and then I can join the workforce, whatever I decide I want to do. And that's why I went to North Dakota. That was purely it.
And only after 1 year of junior A too, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think they knew, like, if I'm being honest with my skating was shitty at the best of times, but I think they knew, like, I wasn't my first year there. I played in almost all the games, but like they were just coming off a national, they won a national title the year before I got there, and most of the guys were back. And like, so I was like dressing in games, but I wasn't playing much. Like, if I'm being, I wasn't ready for it when I first got there. I was too young. I'd never lifted a weight in my life. Like I'd never been in a weight room. Nobody did it. Like nobody did. It wasn't just me. Like nobody lifted weights, or at
Yeah.
least not in Fort Saskatchewan. So like going there and doing like the Ironman tests and watching these guys, like, college hockey should be it should be a little better by and large, just because everybody's older. So like most of the guys at North Dakota were, the average age of the team, we had everybody from 25 years old down to me. I was 17 when I got there. So, the average age was probably 21, 22. These guys are banging out like their body weight and like the bench press, just hammering it out. They're doing pull-ups. And I still remember walking in there. I was horrified. You had to do like your body weight bench press. I was 225 pounds at the time. I'd never done a bench press before. So I'm like standing there and I'm like, holy shit. Everybody's all fired up. I was the heaviest guy on the team, I think. And like, I got that bar, the guy helps me get the bar off the rack. I bring this thing down and I don't think I got it like an inch off my chest. And like, I remember just, you could hear a pin drop in there. And like the assistant coach I obviously finished, other than running, I could run. Thank God I redeemed myself a little bit running. I can run when I need to, but any kind of like weightlifting stuff, like, or strength thing, like I was dead last. It was embarrassing. And the assistant coach like came up, and I remember Scott Sandlin, he's now been at Duluth forever, like was ripping into me. And I'm like, I go, Scott, I'm like, I've never been in a gym before. Like I've never worked out before. This is my first time. And that calmed him down a little bit. He's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, we got a lot of work to do. I'm like, yeah, we do. So anyways.
You're like, have you ever been to Fort Saskatchewan? Like, I don't even
Yeah,
know where the
like,
gym is
I
in
don't
that
even
town.
think we had a gym at the high school. Like, there might have. I mean, maybe there was. I'm certain there wasn't. There might have been a squat rack, maybe somewhere. But anyways, yeah. So it was. I wasn't ready to go there, but at the same time, like I think they knew, like if they didn't bring me in that next year, I was going to be in Kelowna for sure. Like there
Right.
was no doubt about that. And looking back, like I guess be interesting to go, like it worked out. Things worked out all right for me going the NCAA route. But if I could do it again and like try the other route just to see, because I think in a lot of ways, although practicing and lifting weights and like the practice time for me at North Dakota with the way I skated and I had a lot of improving to do, so that was good for me. But I think in a lot of ways too, like the junior hockey with like more games. I also think like, just more of a pro style of playing. Like I was 6'4", and this is back in the day where, fighting was encouraged. I didn't get much of that in the University of North Dakota. So like going there to Kelowna and getting involved in that, that might have helped. Well, that's no, might have, it would have helped me out as I gotten older. And, the team in Kelowna would have been like, Jesus, it was like Scott Parker, Dale Purington, Todd Fedoruk and I grew up playing together. Like those are three NHL like heavyweights. And apparently that Kelowna rink back in the day was like a shoebox. So I feel like going to Kelowna would have been an interesting experience as well. But I chose the college hockey route. But I got off topic there too with rules you were talking about, right?
Yeah, no, I mean we can get to that too. I just wanted to hear why you decided to go to the NCAA first,
Yeah.
and like because we
School.
had talked about it. Yeah, we had talked about it last week, and Zach, you were even saying like you would have done your like 2 years in the dub and then gone if you had the opportunity, right?
Yeah, I think that would help like a smaller guy like me. I just kind of knew I wasn't ready for the NHL at 18, 19, and it would have been nice to go see like University of North Dakota or go see a couple other schools and play in front of those big barns and get a little bit of party life,
You would have
see
had a
everything that
blast.
comes with that. Join the alumni. It seems like all those guys are just so tight and meet up with each other. Like you're meeting up with these guys on trips and stuff. So, but it also worked out for me too, going major junior and was a high pick at 18. So, but for you, did you get drafted a little bit late? Were you a couple of years? Were you like 20 when you got drafted, or
No.
were you
So
the
my
you're the
draft year
normal
was
age?
normal, but I think because of my birthday, I was a little bit. So I was drafted after
Oh,
my second year. So I turned 18. So I was drafted when I was 19. So
oh
I
yeah,
turned 19
second
in
round
November. And then,
pick.
yeah. So, and that wasn't expected at all. Like either. I mean, I wasn't even on the, I had a pretty good year my second year. Like for me, I had a good year. Like things kind of slowed down in my head and started playing more and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, it kind of worked out, but yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like after I turned pro, you go and you go to these camps, and I started in New Jersey, and so you got junior guys and college guys, and this was back when teams could, New Jersey Devils had us there August 1st. If you wanted any chance of making the team, you were going to be in West Orange, New Jersey on August 1st, and Yeah, it's kind
Was
of funny. Like,
Lamorello the GM
yeah,
there?
yeah, Lou
He
Lamoriello
had
was the
you
GM, and
cutting your hair and no
oh
beard
yeah,
and
yeah,
everything.
cutting hair, high and tight. Yeah, he had a big say in what kind of vehicle you got. Yeah, he had his fingers and everything. But yeah, you talk to these junior guys, and you know, when I was young, you know, you think like, oh yeah, the junior guys are going off and partying and whatnot, and the college guys are going to school and like, you know, going to bed early or whatever. And I'm like, you know, we'd laugh about it because I'm like, I think it's basically the exact opposite. Like, I
Yeah,
think
we
it's a
had
little
like
bit
11
backwards.
o'clock curfew every day. We weren't allowed to go in any of the bars in Lethbridge. So
Yeah, see, that's crazy. Nah, some of that's an age thing too, but yeah, college, like, oh, we never had a curfew. I mean, we were good when I was there too. So I mean, we took care of ourselves, but like, don't get me wrong, we were going out and I was underage the entire time I was there. I mean, I got so many misdemeanors for like drinking, just minor things, right? But I mean, like I said, I left when I was 20, so I wasn't of age until I got to New Jersey and Albany. So it was an interesting experience.